we are going to go through our rehab estimator that we use. Now, full disclosure, depending on what part of the country you're in, your numbers can be different and you need to adjust them accordingly. So for example, if you're flipping houses in New York City, these numbers are going to be very, very different than North Texas, and same with San Diego or San Francisco or Washington or Phoenix. Every area is going to be a little different based on materials, labor, so on and so forth. So adjust according to your area. But those numbers shouldn't be hard to replace within here to make it fit your needs. So what this here is it goes over everything we have in a house, just about everything at like a medium level. We're not getting super, super granular, but we're not staying at the 30,000 foot view. My guys can typically go through this entire thing in less than a few minutes, plug numbers in to know what the rehab will cost. Now, I also have over here, you only touch these white cells. You don't need to touch anything in the gray unless you need to change some numbers here for your own, being of your area. But here we have like a C-class home in our area, less than 300,000, something that's a B class, 300 to 500,000, an A class, a 500K plus home. So what these do here as well, I'll just give you an example. Exterior, it doesn't matter. Let's say that we're doing windows and there's 10 windows that need to be replaced on the house. You can see that number gradually increases with the higher ARV of the house. It's because you're probably using a little nicer windows or a little nicer finish, a little nicer paint, so on and so forth. So here, this one adds 5% to this number, and then this one adds 10% to this number. Very, very simple. It's not perfect, but it does get us pretty dang close on repairs. And my team uses this. And then when we use our flip calculator, which is very detailed, it typically is within about 5 or so percent as long as the guys filled out everything within here. So I'm going to go through this just to give you guys an idea. But like I use like the roof replace here. I know that roofs are figured by the square and not by the square foot. However, having an acquisition manager or someone who's not very familiar with squares or how to estimate those, using the total square footage of the all under roof is good enough. So if we were using our previous example here of a 1,500 square foot home, let's say that there's also a garage and it's probably, and you could find this number on the county records, because it will tell you the porch, the garage, and everything. Let's just say hypothetically, we're just going to put in there that it's 2,000 square feet. I know that on a 2,000 square foot house, I could typically get a roof done for about 10 grand. So same thing, exterior soffit trim, and it tells you here it's per linear foot. So you know that if the entire house is, say it's 30 foot by 50 foot by 30 foot by 50 foot for easy numbers, we're at 160 linear feet. I don't know if those numbers even make sense on a house, but you get the gist there. Exterior painting. This is another one that I use a total house square foot. I realize that a painter is going to take a takeoff of the house and how tall is the roof line, what are the pitches, so on and so forth. But plugging that $2,000 number in there typically does give us a fairly safe number for painting the exterior of the home. Vinyl siding, same thing. I realize that this is not how you bid the vinyl siding, but by putting the $2,000 in there, I know that I could probably get all the vinyl siding done on a house for $8,000. The hardy board is going to be roughly about the same where we are. So I could put that on there, but there's not two sidings. Windows, depends where you are. Again, I get windows done for about $400 a piece. I have a really good hookup though. Most people are probably paying about $450 a window. Sometimes you get them as low as $350, $375 installed. Garage door replace, again, just make sure your numbers match up, but you'd have like one garage door, you'd have one opener, yard cleaned. Like this is just a single cost. Like if it's just like raking leaves, bagging some old bushes and stuff, use your discretion. Let's just say this yard is pretty dirty, needs a lot of cleanup. And then that we want to do some landscaping, some new fresh flowers, some shrubs, whatever. We're going to bring in, about $1,500. I put a two there, $1,500 worth of landscaping. And then for me, roughly to replace this is about like a 5-ton unit, 4.5-ton unit, costs me about $6,500. Pretty standard for like a 1,500 square foot house. So I can put one there, or maybe it's a bigger home and there's 2 units. It will just calculate that out there for you. I'll leave that as 1. If this is a house that needs to have HVAC added to it completely because it's an old home and it's never had HVAC, it's going to cost you a little more because I got to run ducting and everything else. But we already have one that's being replaced there. There's the duct work, plumbing replaced just inside the house. This is typically for like a 1,500 square foot home, like a standard 3-2, 1,500 square foot. But if it was like a 4-bed, 3-bath home, 2,200 square foot, like just adjust that accordingly. You could put in like a 1.3, and that plumbing is going to be about 13,000 then. But let's say the plumbing needs replaced on this house. A sewer line in my area is about $7,000 to replace a sewer line. If the home is older than 1960, I tell my guys, ask them, hey, have you replaced the sewer line? If not, budget for it because any buyer will. If there's a septic, it's about $8,000. I should actually probably adjust it up to $9,000. I just put a new septic in a property, and I think it was about $9,500 to do it. However, they did have a bunch of like shrub removal, so that might have been why it was a little bit higher. But a water heater, an electric panel will be replaced, all new electric in the house, foundation. This is another one of those that I kind of use like the square footage of the house in order to know what that would be. There are some majors of the house that we typically get bids on while in escrow to know what we're going to buy it at, or if we're going to flip it. However, like if you're just, going to wholesale this house and say the whole house is just screwed up on foundation, right? Left to right, front to back, like everything needs to be adjusted. $1,500 or 1,500 square feet times at about $7 a square foot, about $10,500, about what it would cost. And I did just have a house that was pretty jacked up. Like it was a rectangle house. The entire back of the house basically sat like 2 inches lower than the front of the house. They took it, lifted up the entire back side of the house. The front didn't need to be touched, but it was about $5,000 for the back of the house. So it would have been 10 if it was the whole thing. No, if you mess with foundation that much, get a hydrostatic test. You'll find plumbing leaks before you do further work. We did that. We found 2 leaks, fixed the leaks so we didn't have to tear out drywall and flooring afterwards. So it was $275 for a hydrostatic test, and then we found the issues, fixed them. All in all, it was like $700, but it saved us probably $2,000 down the road from having to tear back into stuff. Interior paint, you put that in there, 1,500 square feet. Gives you that number there. Removing the popcorn ceilings. You have your popcorn ceilings in some older homes. To remove that, runs about $2 a foot. Carpet, say there's only 500 square feet. I use this by rooms. Like if you're going into a room, typically each room is in a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot house is about 12 by 12, maybe a little bit bigger. So they're about 150 square feet a piece. 500 is plenty for a 3-2. You could maybe up that to 600 square feet. And then say that you do just like vinyl plank throughout the entire rest of the house, which would be 900 square feet. Wood floors refinished, you're doing those. An all new kitchen. There you can see it's about 10,000, 10,500 for a little nicer home, then 11,500. Just getting into maybe some nicer appliances or a little nicer paint. Truthfully, I use the same cabinets in all of my flips, even if they get up into these little nicer areas, because the cabinets I use, they are prefab, but they are pretty good looking. So then or maybe you're just replacing a stove, dishwasher, refrigerator, whatever. A full bathroom remodel, let's say that both bathrooms are being remodeled. There's $11,000 for 2 bathrooms. Sheetrock, let's say that the entire house needs to be re-sheetrocked. It's just old, they smoked in it, whatever. There's some patching in there you could do. I tell my guys, hey, for every hole you find where it looks like someone punched a hole in the wall, just budget about $50 per hole, or just budget to replace that room in drywall. One thing that my guys leave off all the time that I harp on them for is the full demo of the house. They'll have all this stuff in there of new bathrooms, new kitchen, new flooring, painting, replacing all the ceiling fans and everything, but then they don't have the demo on there. And it's hey guys, in order to put a new kitchen in, you have to remove the old kitchen. In order to put a new bathroom in, you have to remove the old bathroom. So this here, if something's a full remodel, this should almost always be put on here every single time. Put that on there. It's a very often overlooked number on a bid is the full demo of the house. And if it's a full demo, I kind of say for every 750 square feet of a house, you need a large 40 or 30 yard roll off dumpster. So that would be 2 of these. So 2 dumpsters. And that is something that people overlook, but that would be $4,200 of your bid on a house. So don't overlook that. Decking, this is typically a hard one to do, but if you're adding new decking in or something, it could be about $20 a foot. Concrete removed, we're right now actually removing a concrete driveway and then adding in another driveway. So to remove let's say that this driveway is roughly 500 square feet. It would cost us about $2,500 to remove it, and then we want to put it back in. It'd be another $2,500. So it costs about $5,000 to replace that, 30 by 15-foot long driveway. Fencing, 6-foot tall pine, very cheap fence with that stain, about $20 a foot. If you get into cedar, it's going to be like $40 a foot. So you got to know what you need to put in. And then miscellaneous, my guys always put this one in. It's if they're remodeling a house. This is all the light fixtures, fans, doorknobs, stuff like that. Just like simple stuff in the home. $1,500, about $3,000 should replace doorknobs, ceiling fans, light fixtures, sink faucets, stuff like that. And the new interior doors, let's say there's 10 interior doors on this property. I put that in there. And then I also have this 5% for unknowns. It adds that on there automatically. This rehab came out to $145,000. I put everything on this house, like $145,000 remodel on a 1,500 square foot house. This thing's probably toasted. This is a full gut. If you go back up here, I had garage doors, I had windows, I had all new siding, painting on the sides, a roof. I had HVAC on there, all new plumbing, replaced the sewer line as well, electric panel replaced, new electric foundation. This house isn't something I would even get into anymore. Cause it was just this is beyond a full gut. It is a full gut, but it's everything. And just curious out of full numbers there, I guess I could do it this way. What that comes out to per square foot comes out to about almost $100 a square foot. So obviously that number is high because it is a full gut, but it is everything, including driveway, the demo of the house, new sheetrock, everything. I look at this and it gives me anxiety wanting to do a flip like that. But that's $97 a foot. I realize over here in the MAL calculator, I have a full gut at $65 a foot, 97,000. We'd probably be able to get a flip done closer to that 95 than that 145. But remember, this is sewer line. This is just dumpster. Obviously, dumpsters are on there. Both bathrooms. This is everything getting done in this house. So yeah, it's a big remodel. But I look at this house and I think it didn't have anything salvageable on it. This might even be more like a fire burnout type house to run up that high. So that is a rehab estimator, though. I've seen, my guys only need to put 6 lines in here, and I've seen my guys need to put almost every single line in here. So use your discretion, fill it out as you should for your area, make adjustments where you need to, save your own spreadsheet so that you can take it and make adjustments. Be like, dumpsters in my area is for a 30-yard dumpster is $750. Make those adjustments in there for yourself. Concrete getting poured in California is probably running more like $9 a square foot, not $5. And then demo of it's probably $7. Make your adjustments for your area on what you need to do. So I hope this was helpful. This again is the exact rehab sheet. I'm sure there's a couple little things missing in here. You could always add a line item in. But for the most part, this is what my guys use to get a good gut check on a property to know what our rehab will be and be able to estimate our repairs a lot more healthy so that we're making offers we can stand behind.